as well as Access Living, and all the supporting organizations for hosting the Chicago Rally, and for the invaluable work each organization does for the citizens of Illinois. Please join me in giving them all a round of applause. We have organizations and people here today and across our nation representing an entire lifespan. You heard right, the per capita caps in the American Health Care Act, passed by the U.S. House of Representatives this past May, would have a devastating impact on individuals across an entire lifespan. I am here today to represent the youngest of the U.S. residents. I am a developmental therapist who has dedicated my life's work to serving families of infants and toddlers with disabilities who receive early intervention services under Part C of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. Early interventionists such as myself help families enhance the development of their infants and toddlers with disabilities through positive early learning experiences that strengthen the brain, thereby changing the child's developmental trajectory. Services to young children who have or are at risk for developmental delays have tremendous benefit to our nation, including economic ones, by reducing the costs associated with the need for special education and related therapies. Most of the services provided by the federally mandated early intervention program are billable to Medicaid. Nearly half of the children who participate in early intervention programs across our nation leave the program functioning at age level and do not need special education or kindergarten entry. A federal Medicaid cap would be penny wise and pound foolish, at the expense of the most vulnerable citizens in our nation. The magnitude of the cuts to Medicaid would impact not only children currently receiving early intervention services, but also those in foster care, our school system, and special education services, children with elevated blood lead levels, and many, many more. The CDC states that recent estimates in the U.S. show about 1 in 6 children have one or more developmental disabilities. Now I ask you, does their Medicaid matter?
Yes!
Yes, their Medicaid matters. Currently we cover 1 in 2 children in Illinois through the Medicaid, so they can access services, and our state receives matching funds for the federal government to pay for the cost of the mandated program responsibility for ensuring that children with disabilities have equal opportunities for education, independent living, and eventually economic self-sufficiency. By allowing these changes to Medicaid to move forward, our U.S. senators and congressmen and women would be recanting on their commitment to people with disabilities. The changes to Medicaid under the American Health Care Act would be damaging to our children and their families, leading to restrictions in program eligibility, increased wait lists, and ultimately the lack of necessary care to help these children develop and grow up to be productive, tax-paying citizens. Just yesterday, I received a call from a mother who described herself as a single mom of 2 children, one whom was 3 years old and was diagnosed with autism. She was looking for assistance in finding a place to get services for her young child with autism, who's on Medicaid. I could hear the desperation in her voice as she told me that she had been calling several hospitals and service providers in the area, and all they told her was that they could put her child on a waiting list that is upwards of 2 years long. I shudder to think what will happen to this family if Medicaid is cut rather than supported. Will this family never get services? Will the wait list grow 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? This is an issue of equity, one of allowing all citizens, regardless of their situation, to have equal access to health care, one that exemplifies the dignity that we as a nation believe each individual has the right to have. The rollback of the expansion of Medicaid through these caps is short-sighted, and as well as we stand here today, we ask our U.S. senators and U.S. congressmen and women to renew their commitment to our children and adults with disabilities. Marian Wright Edelman said it best, the question is not whether we can afford to invest in every child, it's whether we can afford not to. Thank you.
Hi, the next speaker would be Curtis Harris, disability advocate.